Hi, it's Storyteller Mitch. I'm back with another rendition of Tales from the Arabian Nights, and now it's Aladdin and the Princess. I was gonna play like a chill out mix, but I didn't know if it'd give me a strike, so I decided not to. And again, pardon the square. I don't know how to get that fixed. I'm using Game Show just because I find it records better than what my laptop has. It's a shit laptop. Pardon the swear. And maybe you notice in my videos, I just noticed it. I'm sitting on the floor now. I should do it more because when I'm on my bed and I have the thing on level, I'm like, and I look fatter. Well, I am kind of fat, but anyway, uh, pardon the gaps in my videos. I got fibromyalgia. Sometimes I look like shit. I feel like crap, and there's just no way to record or get a good reading. But I hope you guys enjoy. So, Tales from the Arabian Nights, Aladdin and the Princess. Thus the years passed. From a skinny, ragged boy, Aladdin grew into a handsome young man. What is more, he became a clever trader, well thought of by the merchants in the bazaar. Now it happened one morning that Aladdin was on his way to the bazaar. Suddenly he saw the emperor's soldiers marching toward him. Go into your homes or your shops, the leader of the soldiers called to the people on the street. Shut your doors and windows, for the princess will pass by here. No one must look at her by order of His Majesty the Emperor. All the people hurried from the street, and Aladdin with them. But instead of going into a shop, he hid behind a door. In this door was a crack through which he could see quite clearly. Soon people from the emperor's court came down the street. There were guards and ladies in waiting and servants and pages. In the very center of this crowd, Aladdin saw a sedan chair hurried by 4 guards. As the chair went by Aladdin's door, a breeze lifted like silken veil which hid the princess. A breeze lifted the silken veil which hid the princess. Aladdin gasped. The face he saw was the loveliest in the world. The princess turned and seemed to look straight at him through the crack. In that instant, Aladdin fell in love with her. After the princess and her party passed out of sight, Aladdin ran all the way home. "Mother," he shouted as he rushed into the little house, "I have just seen the emperor's daughter. Go to the palace, please. Tell him that I wish to marry her." His mother, who had risen from her chair when he came in, now sat down with a thump. The next moment she was up again and running to feel Aladdin's head. "Are you ill, my son? Have you been in the sun too long?" she asked. And there's a picture right here. This is back when Aladdin was considered Chinese. "No, no," Aladdin brushed her hands away. "I am well. No, I am ill. I am sick of love for the princess. If I do not marry her, I shall die." "You are mad," his mother wailed. "Oh, what shall I do?" "Exactly as I tell you," Aladdin exclaimed and lifted her off the ground in a wild hug. "And I am not mad, believe me. Believe me, my son," she said. "If I went to the emperor with your wild request, he would have both our heads. That is, if I ever got close enough to see him, and if he chose to hear me." "You must see him," Aladdin said, "and he will hear you. I will show you why." He sat her in a chair and hurried to get the leather bags of jewels from her hiding place. Then he spilled the jewel fruits in her lap. They sparkled like suns, moons, and stars mixed together. "Ah, yes, your playthings," the widow said. "Not playthings, mother, jewels, gems beyond price," and Aladdin told her what he had learned about them in the marketplace. "They are, without a doubt, the finest and largest gems in the world. Mother, take them as a gift to the emperor. Tell him of my love for his daughter." Aladdin's mother shook her head and sighed, but she put the jewels into her large dish and covered them with a silk cloth. Then she went to the palace where the emperor each day held court for the people. All day she waited, but no one noticed the poor window with her covered dish. The next day she returned, and the next, and the next, and the next, and no one asked her what she wanted. At last Emperor himself noticed the tired little woman. "Who is she?" he asked the Grand Vizier. "Why does she come every day with that covered dish? Let me speak to her." The vizier immediately brought Aladdin's mother to the emperor. She knelt before him and set her dish on the velvet rug at his feet. Then she touched her head to the floor 9 times and uncovered the dish. Jewels that There was such a great flash of light from the jewels that everyone cried out in wonder. "These are a gift to your majesty from my son Aladdin," the widow said. The Grand Vizier picked up the dish and started to hand it to the emperor. "My son wishes to marry your daughter," the widow added. The Grand Vizier gasped. He would have dropped the jewels if the emperor had not caught the dish. "Magnificent!" the emperor exclaimed. "What was that you said, madam? Your son marry my daughter, a royal princess?" He stared at the plainly dressed little widow. "Yes, your majesty, this is why he sent the jewels as a gift." "Oh," said the emperor. For a moment it seemed as though he was going to hand back the dish. After all, a princess should marry a prince. But then he looked at the jewels and could not bear to part with them. And here's another nice picture. The Grand Vizier leaned over and whispered into the royal ear. "Of course," exclaimed the emperor. "My God, woman, the time is not lucky for my daughter to marry right now. Come back in 3 months, then we can talk about the marriage." Aladdin's mother could scarcely believe her ears. The whole matter seemed to be settled so easily. Happily, she touched her head to the floor 9 times more. Then she rose and hurried home. 3 months, Aladdin exclaimed. "Forever? But I suppose the time will pass somehow." It did, and Aladdin's mother hurried back to the palace exactly 3 months later. "You!" cried the emperor when he saw her. "I did not think you were serious, madam. My daughter is a princess. She should marry a prince. But you gave me your royal word when you kept the jewels," the widow reminded him. "Everyone heard you." The emperor turned white. What she said was true enough. The jewels had dazzled him into foolish promise. He glared at his Grand Vizier. The Grand Vizier trembled, but then he had an idea. Then he whispered into the royal ear. "Of course," the emperor nodded. "An excellent suggestion. Madam," he said, turning to the widow, "tell your son that I love my daughter dearly. In fact, I cannot bear to have her far out of my sight. Now, if your son will build a palace for her nearby, say on the other side of my garden, well, then the marriage will take place. Good day, madam." Aladdin's mother did not understand. How could her son build a palace fit for a royal princess? She touched her head to the floor only 3 times, for she thought the emperor was being unreasonable and not quite honest. Then she rose and went home slowly. Behind her, the emperor laughed, and the Grand Vizier snickered into his sleeve. When the widow told Aladdin what the emperor wanted, he was not upset at all. He laughed merrily, kissed her soundly, and waited for nightfall. When his mother had gone to bed, Aladdin hurried to the shelf where he kept the magic lamp. "O slave of the lamp," he said softly, I call on you to help me again." He rubbed the lamp. Instantly the genie appeared. "What is your will, master?" he asked. "Build me a palace in the emperor's garden. It must be splendid in every way," Aladdin commanded. "There must be courtyards and kitchens, gardens with the rarest flowers in the world. There must be storehouses and stables, servants and slaves. And oh yes, I want a large treasure house, too. Be sure it is filled with bags of gold. And as that last thing, lay a splendid carpet for the princess to walk on from the emperor's palace to mine." I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Pardon the slurp. Okay. Where was I? Okay. The slave of the lamp bowed. "It shall be done, master," he said before he vanished. A moment later he returned. "It is done, master." "Now," said Aladdin, "I shall go call on the emperor and my bride. I want rich clothing for myself and my mother, a milk-white horse for me to ride, and a sedan chair for my mother. We must have a large group of servants and handsomely dressed. We want them to bear gifts for the emperor and the princess and give them 10 bags of coins to throw to the poor along the way." "I hear and I obey," said the slave of the lamp. In the morning the Grand Vizier happened to glance at his window. "I must be dreaming," he cried and rubbed his eyes. Where a garden had been the night before rose a splendid palace. The Grand Vizier ran outside and touched the walls. They were real enough. Without wasting another moment, he ran to the emperor and awakened him. "Look for yourself, your majesty," he insisted when the emperor told him he must be seeing things. The emperor tottered from his own warm bed and stared at the window. There was a palace glittering in the sun. On the road beyond he saw a splendid group of people coming toward the palace. "Make way for Aladdin," shouted the servants. "Make way." "Long live Aladdin," shouted the people as they picked up coins tossed to them. "He may not be a prince," said the astonished, another photo here, I'll show you after, emperor, "but he certainly does things with style. My daughter is a lucky girl, and as for marrying a prince, why not make him one?" the Grand Vizier suggested. "Oh, be quiet, that's what I was going to say," the emperor snapped. "Help me to my robes. I cannot receive such an important person as my future son-in-law in my nightshirt. Oh, and tell the princess she is about to be married." The princess, who had run to a window to look at the beautiful palace, was eager to meet her bridegroom. When she saw the handsome young man, she fell in love with him at once. The wedding took place that very day. After much feasting, Aladdin and his princess settled down to married life in a new palace. Aladdin's mother had a fine apartment of her own and servants to wait on her hand and foot. And what of the magic lamp, which had made all this possible? Aladdin kept it on a shelf in his dressing room, hidden, as he thought, behind his princely robes. And the next one will be, that's it. The next one will be The Wicked Magician. So, thank you for listening. Not much I could say. Oh, yeah, I found, I'll start it after I'm done this one, at a secondhand store. King Arthur and His Knights. I don't know when it was printed. It doesn't show in the thing. It's not in the it's not in the binder or anything. Oh, maybe it's on the other side. Hold on. Nope. Nothing. Okay. Well, ciao.